Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. On today's episode of the show, we're going to dive into the weekend of NFL action as the stage is now set for Super Bowl 50 in Santa Clara, California, in Levi Stadium, the home of the San Francisco 49ers, as the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots are now moving on into the Super Bowl. And hi to Zayden Josiah, watching this over on the YouTube. We appreciate that. If you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David On Point Huffman, right there from the Daily Blitz.blog. Nostradamus himself, Mr. Christian Simpson. Welcome to the show, my friend. And happy Tuesday, man. How was your weekend? How are you?
I'm snowed in over here, David. Just a little bit, but I mean, look, I'm maintaining. I just can't, man. It just seemed like I say this to you all the time. It just seems like yesterday we were getting ready for week 1, and now look at us.
Yeah, it seems like we were previewing the season, and I will say somebody was very high on the New England Patriots at a very early on, and man, you got that spot on for this season. Like that, that was an early prediction.
And I mean, I'll elaborate on it on this show next week when we preview the Super Bowl. But Mike Vrabel just came in and he instilled a winning trajectory. This is something that the Patriots haven't had in quite some time. I know, they did make the playoffs once under Belichick when I think it was like the second year after Brady left for Tampa Bay. But
the first season that Mac Jones was there, they did make it to the
right. But honestly, Mike Vrabel is an excellent football coach, and you saw what he did with Tennessee. How they got rid of him is, it's beyond me, and that's why they're in the position that they're in right now, unfortunately. But Mike to me is a top 5 head coach in the National Football League. I mean,
and the Mikes got the advantage over the Shaws. I thought it was crazy that both the head coaches in this game were either named Mike or Sean. Like,
ironic, right?
What are the freaking odds of that? We had planned on talking about the championship weekend, but we had breaking news like a couple hours ago. Just give me your real quick thoughts on this Bill Belichick situation. Not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I got to be honest with you. I'm pretty shocked. And I know he has his scandals. I know Spygate and Deflategate. But I mean, he's got 8 Super Bowls. I mean, I'm pretty baffled that he'd make it in the Hall of Fame on the first go.
I'm not. I mean, look. The resume speaks for itself, David. This guy won 19 division titles.
I mean, he's going to get in eventually.
He's going to get in eventually. I thought this was the year, just like you. But look, he's won 19 division titles. He's been to what? 9 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken.
I think. Well, as a head coach, I think he went to 9. He won 6.
9. He won 6, and I know.
He won 2 as a defensive coordinator for those Patriots or those Giant teams back in the late 80s.
I was just about to say, without Bill Belichick, there's no Lawrence Taylor. Like, Lawrence Taylor is a Bill Belichick disciple, and there's times I'll never forget it. 2018. The Patriots are getting ready to play your Bears, right? And some reporter asked Bill Belichick, hey, when you look at Khalil Mack, do you see any flashes of Lawrence Taylor? And Bill had to say, hey, yo, let's chill. Like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And I even remember Tom Brady jokingly saying, if you ever want to make Coach Belichick smile, just mention Lawrence Taylor. I mean, he would light up. he really would light up. I mean, the resume speaks for itself. To me, he's the best coach I've ever witnessed, just from the simple fact of the preparation he put in. And I think the most impressive thing he did was giving the underdogs a shot. No one knew about a Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
For the
James
Patriots.
White. I mean, all of those
James
running
White. I
the
mean,
law firm, Ben Jarvis, Green
yeah,
Ellis.
Ben
Like he just
Jarvis, Green
pulling
Ellis,
guys
yeah.
off the street, like Kevin Falk. Like,
Then another thing he would do, he would take veterans who were in the greatest situations with their previous organizations, and they would flourish in Foxborough.
Gio. I
Corey
mean,
Dillon,
Randy
Randy
Moss.
Moss. Randy Moss to me put together the best season I've ever seen from a wide receiver. And who'd that happen under? Bill Belichick. But I mean, I think the biggest thing I take away from Coach B is the simple fact of he made taking away what it was you do best and forcing you to beat his teams in a different way. Like, if you're playing a team back then, say like the Detroit Lions with Calvin Johnson, he's going to play single high. He's going to play man coverage underneath. He's going to have safety help over the top, and he's going to be doubled the entire time. And nobody was better at doing that than Bill Belichick. He's gonna get in, but unfortunately, they're holding those scandals against him. I mean, this kind of reminds me of what the Hall did with Terrell Owens.
I also think it could be thinking like these sports writers, like, man, this guy was a complete dick his entire NFL career.
Hey, you're not wrong.
We're just gonna stick it to him just this one time.
Wrong. You're not wrong.
You want to be an ass? Like you want to be kind of a just an asshole during your press conferences and all that other stuff. Yeah, we hold the keys to the Hall of Fame. We're gonna
so let me ask you, David, who do you think gets in this class of the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I guess I gotta look at it first because I haven't.
Because one guy,
I think Frank Gore gets in.
What about Larry Fitzgerald?
I think he gets in.
And Drew Brees, obviously.
I think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I remember a story when Peyton Manning got in, and they went around the table to vote him in, and they said it was 13 seconds.
They need to have can there be? Is there a limit to how many people can get in? I guess I never really looked at this as close as I need to. Is there a limit how many players can get into the Hall of Fame every cycle?
I don't know, because last year it was only 4. It was Jared Allen, it was Sterling Sharp, it was Eric Allen, and it was Antonio Gates. That was the smallest class we've had since 2005. But normally it's like 5 to 6 modern day finalists, and they put a contributor in, and then they end up putting like a senior finalist in, someone who's been waiting on the ballot for X amount of years.
So these are the guys that are on the list as the modern era players.
All right, let's go. Let's do rapid fire.
There's 15 of them. So Drew Brees,
he's a lot.
He's the first ballot Hall of Famer. Eli Manning, I do not think gets in this cycle. Frank Gore,
he could, but see, here's the thing. You know what I could see them doing? I could see him getting the Antonio Gates treatment. Like, Antonio Gates should have been in on the first ballot. Yeah, he got in on the second ballot, but Antonio Gates is the all-time leader for touchdowns scored by a tight end with 116. And the fact they held him out for a full calendar year is something. I could see Frank Gore, unfortunately, getting that treatment.
I agree with you on that. I think because, Frank Gore was a good running back, but I just never really thought he was like the best running back in the league at any point during his career. And he unfortunately played with a bunch of other really good running backs during his tenure in the NFL. But I don't know. I think he'll get in because his numbers speak for themselves. But
he's third all time on the all time touchdowns list for a running back.
I think yards too. He's pretty high up there, the top 5 at least. Wide receivers, Larry Fitzgerald. I think he's a lock for a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Larry to me was like a more physical version of Chris Carter. He was cut from that, like everything I think Larry Fitzgerald has more fumbles and more games played than he does drop passes or something.
I think Larry Fitzgerald might have more career tackles than he does passes, either passes dropped or fumbles, one of the two.
And
like
I think
career tackles.
I think the thing that makes me stands out to me about Larry is the simple fact he never really did it with the best of quarterbacks. No disrespect. The best quarterback he played with was Kurt Warner. And I can make a point. I can make a point about Drew Brees as well. Like, Drew Brees never really had a Hall of Fame wide receiver that he threw the ball to. Like, none of those names in New Orleans really stand out. Like, we wouldn't know the Lance Moores, the Devery Hendersons, the Marcus
Marcus Colston. I
Colston.
love Miss Marcus Colston.
Yeah,
But
you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, that's why I brought his name up.
Yeah. Two more wide receivers: Torrey Holt, Reggie
He's
Wayne.
getting in.
Torrey Holt, 7th year of eligibility. So is Reggie Wayne, 7th year of eligibility. It's crazy to think that those guys have been retired for 12 years now.
I think Torrey gets in, and this would put the icing on the cake because Dick Vermeil is in, Orlando Pace is in, Isaac Bruce is in, Kurt Warner's in, and Marshall Faulk is in. Like, this would be like the almost like the last piece of the puzzle for the greatest show on turf. Like, Torrey Holt, could you imagine him in this era? How he played back then? Yeah, like he blow up social media right now. He was fast, he was electric, he could take the short pass and turn it into, a chunk play.
Reggie Wayne, I do not think gets in. Jason Witten, I do not think gets in. On the offensive line, Willie Anderson, Jahari Evans, Marshall Yanda, Kevin Williams. I think Marshall Yanda is the only one of that group that gets in. If any.
I think Willie gets in eventually, but I agree with you. I think Marshall gets in.
Willie Anderson going into his 5th year of eligibility. Marshall Yanda, 2nd year. Linebackers, Luke Kuechly, I think is a lock to be a first ballot Hall, or just he's in his 2nd year of eligibility. I think he gets in. Terrell Suggs is also in his 2nd year. I think he gets in as well.
Sizzle, he'll get in, but I don't think now. I don't like.
I guess I guess I don't really know like how many players are allowed to get in every cycle. Like.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, if I had to give you a ballot right now, Drew, Larry, I'll put Frank in there. I'll put Torrey Holt. I think Reggie Wayne's going to wait at least one more year. And then, I don't know. I really don't.
I think Darren Woodson gets in too. He's on there. Adam Vinatieri is also on there. I don't think either of those two guys get in. But yeah, I don't know. But just breaking news out of the NFL: Bill Belichick will not be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Pretty surprising here from Prime Sports World. If you got some opinion on that, leave it down in the comments section. Like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Let's talk about Sunday's action. Let's first start in the AFC and a snow-covered Mile High by the end of this game as the Patriots escape 10-7, a big-time block punt, a field goal in this game in the 4th quarter. Drake May, they escaped 10-7. Drake May, 10-20. He wasn't particularly good in this game, and he's the only one out of all of the 4 quarterbacks in this game not to throw for over 100 yards. But he game managed the hell out of this game for the New England Patriots. 10-21, 86 yards, a touchdown, no touchdowns, no picks. He also had the lone touchdown for the New England Patriots in this particular game. Matt Collins, leading receiver, 2 for 51. Just not a great day at the office for the offense for the New England Patriots. A lot of that had to do with the conditions, also the defense of the Denver Broncos. On the other side, Jarrett Stidham held his own in this game. 17 of 31, 133, 1 touchdown, 1 bad interception. RJ Harvey, leading rusher, but they only ran the ball for 3.3 yards per carry. And Cortland Sutton caught the lone receiving touchdown for the Denver Broncos. But all people are really talking about coming out of this game is that decision to go for it on 4th and 1 instead of kicking the field goal that could have put you up 10-0 early in the second half or in the late in the second half. I think it was in the second quarter at some point. They don't end up converting that. They end up turning it over on downs. They did not score again in this game.
Yeah, first off, congratulations to the New England Patriots. They were absolutely phenomenal, and defense is the reason why they're in Super Bowl 60 right now. Listen to everything they've done, David. They sacked Justin Herbert 6 times, right? They intercept CJ Stroud 4 times, and they held their own in Denver, a place where they've been notoriously known to struggle. For me, when it comes to Denver, it was the play calling, because it was due to the simple fact Sean Payton is calling plays for Jarrett Stidham like he would when Bo Nix was there. Like, nah, cater to your quarterback's skill set in his demographic. Don't try to make him something he's not. Like, they kept trying to move the pocket with him a little more. And my X factor coming into the game for Denver was Marvin Mims Jr. A guy who can one touch of the football and he can give your entire team a spark. Whether it's special teams, whether it's offensively. They should have found different ways to get him the ball. I would have been creating mismatches with him because I really didn't think New England had an answer for him. I don't care if it was an athletic corner, a safety, a linebacker. There's no answer for that. And Denver didn't particularly run the football well enough in this game
Yeah,
either.
24 carries for 79 yards. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
not
they,
going to get the job done.
I kind of thought that they would have over 30 carries in this game. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think they would have Jarrett Stidham drop back and throw it 31 times.
Yeah, and you even said when we previewed the game last week that you thought a key for Denver was to run the football, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. But my thing.
But I also went into that with the kind of the assumption that J.K. Dobbins was going to be cleared to play in this game, and he was not. So I mean, unfortunately for the Denver Broncos, you're kind of like you're handed a kind of a bad hand here. I mean, you lose your quarterback right after you get into the AFC title game, and I mean, you have a guy who hasn't played a quarterback, who hasn't taken a snap in 2 years, a meaningful snap in the National Football League. I'm just circling back to the field goal decision. I probably would have taken the points there. I think going up 10-0. Given the defense that Denver was rolling out there, that could have felt insurmountable going up against this offense in the New England Patriots. I don't.
Yeah, and not only
that, but it's also very easy to second guess. Like, if he gets the first down, we're not even having this conversation.
Right, but it was even the play call on 4th and short. Like, stop being cute in those.
Yeah, I mean, you literally
run the football right up the middle.
Yeah, Jarrett Stidham, the interior was wide open. Like if he just audible to a quarterback draw, he would have picked up the first down
easily. And to me, that was the determinant outcome of this football game. And dare I say it, Mike Vrabel, he simply just outcoached Sean Payton. Plain and simple. I mean, what more really needs to be said? This was a lot more low scoring than what I thought it would be, and it was a completely different game. You look at the first half, cold, clear day, and then by the third quarter, it's snowy.
Yeah, like the CBS affiliate, like whatever CBS affiliate had on, like they had to put like the grids and shit like on the TV broadcast, so you could actually like see the yard markers because it was so snowy you couldn't see a damn thing. Like it's crazy. Like, but yeah, I mean, New England, congratulations to you guys. You get to go. You're going to Super Bowl. You're going to Super Bowl 60. What a turnaround for a team that was not even had 4 wins last season, didn't make the playoffs. Now you're playing for the Lombardi Trophy. Like just a crazy turnaround. Fantastic job of coaching by.
Now, David, I got a question. Not to toot my own horn, but who did you say was high on the Patriots coming into this year?
You were. Yes, you were. Because you predicted them to go to the playoffs. I think you had them as a wild card team.
I did.
When we did our early prediction in like right before week 1. And yeah, like you got that right. You're spot on. Those Stradamus over there. Or Christian Damas.
Oh Lord, look, man, I ain't gonna go that far. But nah, it was just, it was the Vrabel hire. And the fact that we've talked about this, this coach of the year being wide open. I really, at this point, I don't think it is. The Patriots won 4 games last year. They go 4-13. And a year later, you finish with a 14-3 record and you're in the Super Bowl. I mean, I think Mike Vrabel all but locked this up.
Well, as we talk about all the time, these are regular season awards. The postseason has no bearing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, but look, the Patriots were at the bottom of the barrel in the AFC East, and they won the division for the first time since 2019. And yeah, I mean, me personally, I think the 2 coaches in the Super Bowl right now are the favorites for the award.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about those awards here in just a few minutes. But coming off of that, swinging into the NFC, where the Seattle Seahawks survive the Los Angeles Rams 31-27, as the Rams tried to mount a furious comeback towards the end of this game after putting themselves way, way behind the 8 ball. You get a huge stop in this game if you're the Rams, and your punt returner fumbles the kickoff. The punt return, and just an absolute ridiculous play for their poor punt returner. Just another example of special teams for the Los Angeles Rams coming back to bite them in the biggest moment of the season. Los Angeles Rams, this was an absolute shootout between Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford. Also, congratulations to Matthew Stafford. If you're a Jets fan, this cannot be an easy weekend for you. You have Sam Darnold, the guy you drafted number 3 overall, going to the Super Bowl, and then you got your arch rival, the Patriots, going to the Super Bowl as well. But Stafford, 22 of 35, 374 yards and 3 touchdowns, but they could not get the big time 4-down conversion that they needed to have to really keep this game in. To keep the game in grasp there in the fourth quarter. And then their defense could not get a stop of Seattle. One questionable call in that downward stretch for Seattle is Cooper Kupp. Looked like he may have been short on the yardage, and for some reason the Rams could not challenge that play. I never really understood what was going on there. But the Rams, Blake Corum leads them in rushing. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams both had receiving touchdowns, and so did Kyron Williams. On the other side, Sam Darnold going match for match, tit for tat with Matthew Stafford. 25 of 36, 346 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, 19 of 62 and a touchdown. JSN Cooper Kupp, who got a little bit of revenge against his former team, and Jake Bobo both had receiving touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks. An absolute masterclass of a football game. One of those games we'll be talking about is Xavier Smith, by the way, was the name of the kick returner who unfortunately fumbled that punt in the red zone for the Seattle Seahawks that they turned into a touchdown.
Yeah, the Rams to me just had too many miscues across the board. Sam Darnold had too much time to throw, but you give credit to the Seattle offensive line because they kept him upright. They gave him a clean pocket to throw from. And, I think the $1 million question was, could Sam Darnold deliver on the big stage, which is the playoffs? Because you remember, around this time last year, he was already home, struggled in the last game of the year with Minnesota against Detroit, and then struggled big time against these same Rams. Now, You remember what I told you, David? He has a year of experience under his belt, so he knows what it takes now. And how could you not be happy for him? If anybody really feels bad, I think it's more so Minnesota, because who knows what Minnesota could have been, because he wasn't bad for Minnesota. But this just goes to show that a quarterback does indeed matter. Seattle, they were able to run the football when they did. They have receivers in Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp, who's a veteran now. I mean, he's not what he was, past his prime, but he's a serviceable threat that can move the chains. That touchdown pass that he threw to Jake Bobo was probably the best pass I think I've seen Sam Darnold make all year long, because he put that only to where Jake could get it. Defensively, look, Seattle's been good, but this is a Rams offense that can move the ball on anyone. And Tariq Woolen. Yeah, he needs to see me. Listen, David, because you can't do that. You
get a huge stop on third down, and then you just basically implode. Come on, man.
No, it's the simple fact that the next play they go at him on that touchdown. Did you notice that? They go at him. But again, like I said about the Patriots and Broncos, I can apply that to Sean McVay in the Rams. He made some questionable calls. Take the points. You could have been down by 1, and then that would have forced Seattle into a situation where, okay, we got to score. You know what I'm saying? We got to drive the ball down the field because they're on our necks right now. But you decide to go for it, and you decide to risk it, and look at what it cost you.
And they didn't even run a good play on that. It was nowhere near Terrence Ferguson. I just don't the play probably wasn't designed to go to Terrence Ferguson, your rookie tight end. But I mean, you just have to the play design has to be better than that. And then you're just not unable to really get the Seattle Seahawks off the field after that point. I'm not going to talk about the officiating because I actually think they got that right. Maybe Cooper Kupp was a little bit short, but I think he rolled over on top of the defender and he was never down until he was past the first down yardage. And I think it was a catch. I know there's been a lot of conversation about what is a catch during this particular postseason, but I don't think it's that close.
Look, someone asked me a couple of years ago, if I were commissioner for a day, what are the 3 things I would do? And the first thing I mentioned was I'd start a committee with wide receivers and maybe a tight end or two. Form a committee and let them determine what a catch is, because we have too many guys who, who are sales reps or they're selling life insurance, trying to tell us what a catch is.
Yeah, I don't. It's tough.
Because David, let me ask you. I don't think we talked about this last week. The Brandon Cooks play in Denver for Buffalo, was that a catch to you?
I would say no. I would say no, but I think they officiated that one. I think they officiated Devontae Adams play correctly as well in that Bears game against the Rams. I think all of those plays were officiated correctly. I did not think Brandon Cooks was a catch, and the way that I know that I feel that way is more is because Brandon Cooks never contests it. Like he just like walks off the field. Like you think if that was a catch, he'd be a little more animate. But I also don't think that particular play cost Buffalo the game. I mean, it was basically like an arm punt where their defense still had to go there and stop the Broncos from moving down the field. And yes, the officiating did help them with that, but they didn't get the stops when they needed to, and that's why Denver moved on. I don't think the Brandon Cooks play was a catch.
Okay, fair. I thought it was because it looked like his knee was down. I mean, there's so many angles, and then McMillan just snatched the ball out his hands. And I mean, again, like you said, that doesn't necessarily determine why the Bills lost that game. Josh Allen didn't play particularly well in that game. Plain and simple. 100%. You can't turn the ball over 5 times and expect to win. But
swinging back over into this game, I think Seattle. I mean, this is huge for them. Like there's only been I think like 4 or 5 times in the history of the league where the two teams that missed the playoffs entirely the season before end up meeting up in the Super Bowl. It's only happened like 4 or 5 times in the history of the league, including this year. So that's huge. I mean, they committed to Kenneth Walker. They gave him 19 carries. I mean, Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford went tit for tat. This was a fantastic football game that went back and forth. Seattle just had it like there was just not enough time for the Rams to win this game. I think, right?
It wasn't. It wasn't. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But yeah, this is. I mean, the regular season matchup was epic between them. This NFC Championship was epic between them. I don't know about you, David, but there have been quite some really good games in this postseason. I mean, starting with the Rams and the Panthers, your Bears coming back on those cheese graters, on those Packers. Buffalo and Jacksonville was good. Even the 49ers and the Eagles was good. Like, no, this has been.
It came down to the wire.
This has been one of the best postseasons I've seen in quite some time because it truly was wide open.
I tend to agree with you. We'll be back here next week previewing the Super Bowl. Probably going to do that on Tuesday. Keep an eye out for all that content. Let's talk a little bit about. So the finalists for the awards were released late last week. I think it was on Friday or Thursday. We're just going to go through them and give them our final predictions on who do you think was going to win this stuff. Also, I did not know, but there's actually an Assistant Coach of the Year award. I did not know that was even a thing. We'll talk about that too. I forgot game balls. My bad. I almost forgot game balls. Christian, let's do it, baby. Come on.
Man, I gotta go. Oh wow, you kind of put me on the spot. Hold on, David. You go first. Let me look.
I'm going with Sam Darnold. I mean, who else, right? 25 of 36, 346 yards and 3 touchdowns. Anybody who questions if he's a big-time player can silence that right now. And for all you Jet fans out there, if taking Sam Darnold at number 3 overall now means that he prevents them from winning the Patriots from winning the Super Bowl, it was worth it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, David, my turn. Yeah. My game ball is going to Jackson Smith-Njigba. He was targeted 12 times. He caught 10 of them, 153 yards and 1 touchdown. He's done this all year long for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep. Now let's get into those awards. First, let's start with MVP. By the way, I used to think that there were only 4 nominees for these awards, and now all of a sudden there's 5. But anyways, MVP, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, Matthew Stafford, all very deserving, but who's getting it?
For me, it's Matthew Stafford. I mean, he was everything to a Rams offense that was top 4 or 5 in the league. And I think you take Matthew Stafford away from the Rams, and they're not playing in that game on Sunday. And he was just locked in. I think everyone kind of wrote him off a little bit, but he still has it. Spread the ball around. He's in that Drew Brees era of his career now. If you're open, you're getting the ball. And just that crazy stretch where he went like 8 or 9 games without throwing an interception. To me, that's what won him the award right there.
I'm gonna go. I think both of them are very deserving. Obviously, there's 2 guys on that screen that are obviously the front runners for this award. I'm gonna take Drake May, but I wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Stafford wins. I think the narrative around Drake May has been spun. Also, I think if you take Drake May off the Patriots, they're not a good football team without him. He doesn't have Puka Nacua. He doesn't have his Stephon Diggs. He doesn't have a Kyron Williams, even though I do like Ramondre Stevenson and his running backs, but I mean, those guys are just not as good as Kyron Williams. Drake May is the engine of this offense, and he, in my opinion, he's the most valuable player of the year. And I've been like sort of swayed by the narrative as well, because I was a very big Matthew Stafford guy, and I thought he was going to win the MVP. But the way that I feel like I've shifted a little bit over the last couple of weeks. So I think Drake May I think he's just more important to his football team right now than Matthew Stafford is. And that's no knock to Stafford. I just don't think the supporting cast around Drake May is as strong as the supporting cast around Stafford.
Okay. I mean, look, we can't agree on all of them because it calls for bad radio.
Offensive Player of the Year, 4 or 5 finalists for this as well: Drake May, Chris McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, and JSN. I'm going Christian McCaffrey as my Offensive Player of the Year. He almost 1,000 yards receiving, almost 1,000 yards receiving. I think he had more receptions by a running back than anyone in the NFL. He's the most important player on that San Francisco 49ers team, where all the pieces were falling apart around him. Chris McCaffrey was the one standard, the one consistent player every single week. Chris McCaffrey is my Offensive Player of the Year.
For me, wow, I've been so back and forth on this one. I'm going to go Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, he was everything to the Seattle offense. I mean, he was that safety valve for Sam Darnold. Like, anytime you needed that big catch, this was the guy that you would target. I mean, he was everything. He just needed that catch on 3rd and short. He did it. You needed that catch on first down just to, get your offense into some type of rhythm. He was that guy. But I wouldn't be surprised if Puka Nacua also won it, because he was, I think, just as valuable to the Rams offense.
I am curious if Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be hurt by he had such a blazing start, and it kind of came like the end of the season it just kind of came out to a whimper a little bit at the end there. Many people thought he was going to break Calvin Johnson's record, and he at the time he was on pace to do so. But he just never really got there. He kind of cooled down towards the end. And Puka Nacua, on the opposite coin of that, really heated up towards the end of the season. And I'll be interested to see what the voting, if that weighs into any of the decision making made by whoever votes on OPOY. I think it's sports writers or DPOY. We have a bunch of names, and then we have Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's going to win this award.
It goes without saying. Like, Myles Garrett to me was the best player in football this year.
Yeah,
he should be on that MVP list, if you ask me. I know he wouldn't really get a lot because of.
I disagree with that, but I'm sure he got some votes for MVP. But
yeah, I'm sure he did. But I mean, what Myles Garrett did and what he's done, he's been the best defensive player in the National Football League since Aaron Donald retired. I mean, he's at the peak of his career. Yeah, he's doing it on a pretty bad Cleveland Browns team, but other than that, I mean, he won this going away probably in October.
I mean, his team won 3 games. He's going to win DPOY.
But I will say this: if Myles Garrett didn't do what he did this year, Will Anderson would get my vote.
I agree with you on that 100%. From there, we got 4 quick awards. We got Offensive Rookie of the Year. Not the strongest offensive rookie, not the strongest rookie class in general when it comes to these particular awards. So first, we're going to go Offensive Rookie of the Year. Our finalists are Jackson Dart, Mecca Ibuka, Trayvon Henderson, who really came on as late, Tedero McMillan, and Tyler Shuck. Christian.
For me, it's Ted McMillan. I mean, they finally got Bryce Young, a true number one wide receiver. At the beginning, it looked like Emeka Egbuka was running away with this. And you talk about a guy considerably cooling down.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
definitely
Well, I mean,
Mecca.
he had a hamstring injury, and I just
Yeah,
don't think he ever
yeah.
really recovered from
You
that
right,
injury.
right. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go McMillan.
I will, man. I don't know. I think Tedro McMillan probably deserves this award because the only other person I think is little like I like what I saw of Tyler Shook, and I think he probably is going to finish the second. My problem with Tedro McMillan is so having him. This is a fantasy conversation, right? So just this for a second, like he had too many games where he just had like one catch or two catches over the course of the season, where he just kind of disappeared from the stat sheet. And I don't know, something it just bothers me a little bit that I'm gonna take Tyler Shook. Actually, I think Tyler Shook's gonna win. But Tyrone Miller is probably gonna win. Let's be real. But this is not a very strong offensive rookie of the year class. Two deep defensive rookie of the year. We got Abdul Carter, Nick Emenwere, James Pierce Jr., Carson Schlesinger, and Xavier Watts of the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going Carson Schlesinger. Was a very good rookie at the linebacker position. Led all rookies in tackles. Just played every single play for a bad Browns team. But yeah, he was one of those shining stars for that football team.
I agree with you completely. I really don't have anything else to add to that.
From there, we got comeback player of the year. Pretty loaded comeback player of the year class here. Stephon Diggs coming off that ACL tear. Aiden Hutchinson coming off that gruesome knee injury. Trevor Lawrence coming off that pretty dirty play by Alshire, getting that hamstring. Also dealing with a bunch of injuries. Chris McCaffrey, I think it was like an Achilles that he like something like that, or a PCL something. And then Dak Prescott, I don't remember what happened to him the year before.
He messed up his hamstring. He messed up his hamstring. Yeah.
He just kind of feels like they needed 5 guys, so they just threw him in there because he doesn't. I don't remember his injury. I don't remember him missing time last year. So
yeah, he missed time. Yeah, he missed it.
Who you got comeback player of the year?
Wow. I'm gonna go Dak. I mean, look, he was the shining point.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dak. I'm really gonna go Dak. I mean, look, you can't put the Cowboys' struggles on him this year. Like, he doesn't play on the defensive side of the ball. That defense was absolutely atrocious, but he gave them chances to win games each and every week. His defense just let him down. But when you needed that leader, he just always seemed to be that guy. I would run through a wall for Dak Prescott.
I'm going that I see your point about Dak Prescott, but Chris McCaffrey is right there and missed basically all but like one game last season. For him to come back and be a runner-up, one of the candidates for offensive rookie for offensive player of the year is outstanding. And many people thought Chris McCaffrey maybe never is going to get to that same height of his talent again, pushing 30, dealing with nagging injuries. And for him to come back and not only come back, be as effective as he was, have the workload that he had. I don't want to say a lock, but I think Chris McCaffrey should be a lock for this award. Like I just can't imagine anybody else winning this award. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, fine. Stephon Diggs, the first half of the season was pretty quiet. Aiden Hutchinson Lions didn't make the playoffs. He was okay as I think he had over 10 sacks, but Chris McCaffrey, he feels like he should be a lock for this award. Period.
I get what you mean. I definitely get what you mean.
And then for one of the most stacked finalists for Coach of the Year that I could ever remember, we have Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike Vrabel. An absolute loaded class of rookie of coaches here. 2 of them being rookie coaches, 3 of them, and then Mike McDonald, his second season, and Kyle Shanahan, obviously probably the standard when it comes to coaching in the NFL right now. Andy Reid removed from the conversation. All right, who do you got on this one, man?
Wow, yeah, this really is stacked. I mean, I could make a case for every guy. Your guy Ben, what he did. I mean, I don't think the Bears were given much of a shot, yet a chance to compete. And look at what they did, right? Liam Cohen, coming in first year and really giving the Jaguars an identity, something I think they've lacked these last couple years. And shout out to that woman that really gave him words of life after that game. Say what y'all want about her, but she did what she had to do. Mike McDonald trading away DK Metcalf, you're bringing in a whole new quarterback, and you go 14-3, and you lock up the NFC West division that was favored for the Rams. And look at what they did. Kyle Shanahan, despite all the bodies that dropped and everybody that was on the IR, they were still winning football games. I thought this was his best job yet to date. But for me, it's Mike Vrabel. I mean, he came in, took a team that won 14 games, and just kind of like flipped the switch. 14-3, you win the division title for the first time since 2019. He's a modern day Belichick. Look, he wants his players to lock in and stay focused, but most importantly, he wants to have fun. And he's such a player's coach. I mean, he gets down and dirty with his guys. Like he, is showing them, hey, block this way, run this route this way. Like he's a football technician. And the one thing I like about him, after every game, he shakes the hands of like every player. Like he's standing there, like he's truly a player's coach, because he knows the ins and outs of what it is to grind through this league. But yeah, it's Mike Vrabel for me. I mean, all 5 of these guys are deserving of it, but only one can win the award, and it's Vrabel.
Literally any other season where you'd like put out a resume that any 5 of these head coaches put out this season, when it comes to like being coach of the year, it's a lock to win the award. It just happens to be that you're going up against each other, where you're all having arguably one of the best coaching seasons in the NFL, maybe ever. With all of these guys elevating the players around them. Liam Cohen, there was talent there in Jacksonville. He just seemed really untapped. He finally gets the best out of Trevor Lawrence. People have been talking about that for a long time. Ben Johnson goes into a really good scenario with the Chicago Bears, with Caleb Williams in the second season. Some nice weapons out there. Defense with some tenacity to it. Mike McDonald, you bring in Sam Darnold, who had a good season in Minnesota. You have some weapons there with JSN. You bring in Cooper Kupp. You have a defense that's loaded from top to bottom. And then, like you mentioned with Kyle Shanahan, man, I mean, you have people getting injured every single week. The only thing you could rely on as we went from week to week, game to game, was that Chris McCaffrey was going to be in the building. Everything else was in flux for their offense. I mean, even in their defense as well. You lose Fred Warner, you lose Juwan Jennings for moments, George Kittle in the playoffs. Brandon Ayuk just never shows up. But I agree with you. It's Mike Vrabel. This was a bad Patriots team just a season ago, winning 4 games. And I do realize, they brought in they spent a ton of money this offseason in free agency to kind of like bring in pieces to plug a bunch of their holes. But somebody has to coach that. Like we've seen other teams bring in notable free agents and spend a bunch of money in the offseason. It doesn't usually end up with a team that wins 14 games, is the number 2 seed in the conference, and has an MVP candidate, and is going to go to the Super Bowl. And I realize that it's not a postseason award, so like that's relevant. But Mike Vrabel has done the best coaching job this season. The fact that he took that Patriots team and now they're going to be playing for the ultimate trophy in the sport is incredible.
Yeah. I will say, if Kyle Shanahan had won, if the 49ers had won the division,
I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, if the 49ers had won the division with all those injuries, I mean, look, you lose your best pass rusher.
To like key players, like not just like
it's key. Like you lose your best pass rusher in Nick Bosa.
You lose arguably the best player on the team in Fred Warner.
Right. Brock Purdy was out for 8 games.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Juwan Jennings missed some time.
There was no Brandon Ayuk because he's having baby mama ish. No, I'm playing.
Who knows what? Man,
who knows what's going on?
He may never play again in the NFL.
No, I can't disagree with you on that one. I really can't, Dave. I really can't.
Yeah. And then final, I didn't know this was even an award. Also, for some reason, Protector of the Year, those finalists were not released either. It'll probably be Penei Sewell. I think he probably has had the best offensive lineman season. I love that they added this award, but I hate the fact that the NFL didn't like release finalists for it or anything. They're just going to give it out whenever they do the awards show in like 10 days. I don't get it. And I know it's not an AP award, which is why it was handled differently. But if you're the NFL, all these other awards, you have all these finalists for everything else, and then you debut a brand new award and you just crickets. You don't hear shit about it. Like, if you want people to care about it, make it matter. It's ridiculous. Just getting off my soapbox there for just a second. Assistant Coach of the Year, I didn't realize that this was a thing either. Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, Clint Kubiak, who may be the next one head coach when we are talking in a week from now. Actually, no, you can't wait till after Super Bowl. And then Josh McDaniels of the New England Patriots. If you had to pick an Assistant Coach of the Year, who's got your vote?
I'll go Josh. I'll say Josh McDaniels. I mean, that Patriot offense last year was pretty bad, and they're pretty much running the same scheme that they ran with Tom Brady. Like, that's pretty impressive. I'll go Josh. I mean, I didn't even know this was a thing until
I didn't know it was a thing either. Let's see how long they've been giving this award out for. So they gave it the first time they gave it out. It was in 2014. If you had to guess who won this award in 2014, he was a defensive coordinator for the Cardinals. And he is currently a head coach in the NFL.
And he's currently a head coach in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had a stint as a head coach before his current team.
All right, give me another hint. Let me use this lifeline. What division is he coaching in?
He's coaching in the South, NFC South.
Todd Bowles?
Todd Bowles, look at you. Todd Bowles is the very first player to win this award, assistant coach of the year, back in 2014. It's been won by Wade Phillips, Kyle Shanahan, Pat Shurmur, Vic Fangio, Greg Roman, Brian Daboll. Shout out to him, new offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. I like that hire a lot.
I like that hire a lot too. Look, I saw I'm kind of happy that he didn't become Buffalo's head coach, because I didn't think that was the answer, and I don't think what they did today was the answer either, David.
Yeah, I don't. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Yeah, D'Amico Ryans, Jim Swartzen, and Ben Johnson won this award last season. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Clint Kubiak, actually, the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. The way he's elevated that offense and integrated Sam Darnold, losing some pieces like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and for that to be a well-oiled machine by the time the end of the season starts. He better get ready to be a head coach in the NFL for sure, because I would be shocked if after the Super Bowl, if he isn't hired on Monday after the Super Bowl. So,
that's who I wanted Buffalo to go after.
I think they should have waited. I don't really. What is the rush? I mean, Joe Brady isn't going anywhere. Like, you could have hired him anytime, and it literally feels like we just. But yeah, this has been our championship week recap. Thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast if you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World. We are actually going to talk about the coaching carousel in depth tomorrow, as we did have a bunch of guys. Mike McCarthy got hired by the Steelers since the last time we talked. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. And we're going to talk about the remaining three jobs that are currently available in the National Football League. We're also going to talk a little more extensively about the Bill Belichick thing. Pretty shocked that he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. So we'll dive into all that stuff. But until then, I hope you all doing safe and being good out there. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm David On Point Humpin. Right there is from the Daily Blitz blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. And Christian, what do we do at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, and Lord knows I need it.
Yes, sir. Good luck, brother. I'll see you tomorrow if you're available. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.
Cool.
Peace out, brother.